If you have trouble standing up from low surfaces, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Candy, and in this video, I'll share one simple tip to make it easier to stand up from low surfaces. And for many people, this tip will work immediately. For others, I'll share corrective exercises to help you be able to utilize the tip better in the future. Now, first of all, we need to define what low surfaces mean, because what's low for someone who is 6'2" may be very different for what's low for someone who's 5'2". But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to define this as a surface where your hips are lower than your knees so that your knees are bent at more than a 90-degree angle. Most of the time when you watch videos, including many of my own, about standing up from chairs, they'll tell you to bend your knees, lean your hips forward to load your weight over your feet, and then come up by pushing your feet forward. And that works really well because it uses your body weight to help drive your momentum up and get your center of gravity over top of your feet. But once you get below 90 degrees, the vector of your thigh bone is no longer going up and forwards, it's actually going up and backwards. And to get from below 90 degrees to 90 degrees, you're driving the opposite direction that you want to go. And so you need a tip to help make that work better. So for this, we're going to use a really low surface. I wouldn't recommend starting this low. Any surface where you're below a 90-degree bend in your knee will work. Now, because using your thigh muscles is going to drive you up and back that way, when you want to get your center of gravity over here, we need to change the axis of rotation. So rather than bending at the knees, we actually want to move down to the ankles. And to do that, you need a movement known as dorsiflexion. Now, if you can't get this movement of going this way, where your knees come forwards over your toes, I will show some exercises to help with that after this. But for the purpose of this, you need to get your center of gravity coming out this way. You can either do that using momentum, using your arms, reaching forward like that. And you'll notice the pivot point is really at the ankles here. The knees are staying at the same angle. This does require a little bit of thigh strength just to isometrically hold and not allow your bottom to sink down farther as you come forwards. But for the most part, it's just pivoting at the ankle joints. Now, if you don't have that momentum or you can't create that momentum to come forwards like this, you can just use your hands. There's no rule to say that you can't use your hands to stand up. And in this purpose, it works really well that you just push up with your hands. You see you kind of pivot around your ankles, and you pivot to the point where essentially you get your bottom above your knees, and that way it becomes just like the previous technique where you push the hips forwards and stand up. It becomes leverage at that point. So really the trick is getting from below 90 degrees up to where your thigh is parallel with the floor so that your quadricep force is going up and forwards like standing up from a normal height chair. But what if you don't have that mobility in your ankles, or what if you can't use that technique for some reason? Well, again, the things that are required to do that are dorsiflexion in the ankle and some isometric thigh strength out of your knees to be able to hold your knees at that same angle as you're pivoting around your ankle. So first, to increase ankle dorsiflexion. Again, that's the movement of being able to move your knee over your toe, which you need to go upstairs, to take a normal length step, or even to get up from the floor or get up from a chair. So to increase that motion, you start with your foot up on something like a stair or a step stool and just lunge forward like this. You can also do it, and I think it's often easier to do it with a higher surface like a chair. Put your foot up on the chair, and then you lean forwards, keeping your heel flat on the chair and driving your knee out forwards over your toes. This uses your body weight to kind of help increase that motion, as well as to keep your heel flat down on the surface. So again, you can do it on a chair, you can do it on a step, you can do it on a step stool, whatever you prefer. But that helps with the mobility issue. Now we need to work on the strength issue. The ability to hold your knees at an isometric angle using your thigh muscles. And to do this, I want you to find a surface that's slightly lower than you can stand up from without using hands. So find the lowest surface that you can stand up from using hands, then go just a little bit lower than that so that if you get stuck, you can use your hands to help you up. But let's say this was a chair that we're going to use. We're going to straddle the chair like this, kind of bring your knees out wide. Now drive your heels down into the ground while trying to lift your bottom up off the chair. And again, if you can do it successfully, you probably need to come down a little bit lower. Just lean forwards like this, drive the heels down into the floor. This keeps you safe because you can't fall down, but it also helps strengthen your thigh muscles at a lower angle. Now, once you've been doing this for a while and you find that you can get up, and usually it's that first movement up off the chair where it's hard. If you get to here, you can probably get to here pretty easily. But once you're able to stand up from this surface, then move down to a slightly lower surface, and a slightly lower surface, and a slightly lower surface. And then practice the same thing. Knees wide, drive your weight down through your heels, press the heels down into the floor as if you were going to stand up. And then to see the overall technique, once you've improved the ankle mobility and thigh strength again, you just generate momentum at your ankles or use your hands to help and then press up from there. So hopefully you did find this video helpful. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. And speaking of future videos, here are some other videos over here that I think you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.